Hello, for this section, I'll talk about activities. I'll start off by talking about the activity life cycle. The two main application of the activity life cycle is saving things to disk when your application quits, and the other thing is to handle rotations. So I'll talk about some approaches to saving stuff to disk and handling rotations. Then I'll talk about starting other activities. So far, all my examples so far have only one activity, like one window, basically. So how to start up another window or another activity in the Android world. Starting an activity is kind of different for Android than for Windows. In Android, when you start an activity, you're telling the OS to start your activity. So you're using reflection. So after like a simple activity example, I'll take a detour and talk about reflection as the programming constructs involved in reflection inside Java. It's a good time to talk about it because reflection is an interesting topic, and there's no reflection in C++. And although there's reflection in C#, you don't actually ever use it. So I mean, certainly not something like so basic as in starting a new activity. Like on Windows, when you start a new window, you don't use reflection. So I just think it's a good time to take a detour. This can be skipped over, of course. So 2 slides on that. And then I'll go back to talking about child activities. How do you pass arguments to the child activity? And argument passing, how does the child activity pass stuff back using set result? So, and how does the parent get the result back from the child? And the last topic is for this section is implicit intent. So far, when we start the child activity, this is called explicit intent because you're telling the Android system exactly what to launch. In implicit intent, you're making a request to the operating system, and the operating system will sort of decide for you what to launch. Implicit intent is used to start up programs written by other people. Explicit intent is for programs that you wrote, for activities that you wrote yourself. So implicit intent, the example that I'm going to do is the most basic example is how to start up the web browser to go to a certain web address. So you're basically asking the OS, I want to go to a certain web address, and the OS will decide for you what to launch. Okay, so that's the overview of the section. Activity life cycles. So this topic is at the API guide under components /activity. So the API guide, components, app components, activities. So this is a web page I'm looking at. And if you scroll down, they have a chart. There's a lot of reading, so I'll kind of get to the most important stuff. The activity life cycle refers to functions that gets called by the operating system by Android as the activity comes in and out of the foreground. So one way to learn about it is to just override these functions and then write a log to yourself. So I'll do that. So here I have just a very basic project that I used. This is the basic Hello Android project. So just the on create, the default stuff, basically. A single hello world text view. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'll run some of these functions and then I'll send a log to myself. So the functions I'm most interested in are these two. So I'll go over each issue here. I'll first write these two, okay? So, on resume, right, override 3. Okay, I need to bring this, and the other one's on pause. So why do I pick those two? So when an activity is running, the last thing that happens is on resume, and the first thing that happens when the activity leave your foreground is on pause. So these two are basically kind of like the gatekeepers to a running activity. That's the last function always happens, right? On start or on create might not happen, right? You have these other pathways in here. So those two, that's why I picked those two. Ooh. Okay. So what I've done is I overridden on pause and on resume on pause, and in either case, when you override any of these functions seen here in this table, in this graph, or when you override any of these guys, always call the super, right? So this is the one generated by the wizard. So they're calling super. So yeah, because your activity is just, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in this activity class. So you have to call super for any of these life cycles. Okay, so I'll run it. Let me also, let me, oops. So I'll run it. Okay, so I on resume. So if I rotate my device, see the on pause and on resume. Rotate again, on pause and on resume. So rotation goes through this. Rotation goes through this thing. But it's not really marked here. Rotation is really addressed on this picture, but for now, I mean, I'm just saying that's how you learn what these functions do. It's by overriding them in your code and sending yourself a log message, and then moving your application around, see what happens. So now I'll press the back button to exit. So on pause. So this is gone now. So there's nothing here. It's a 0. Let me bring it back. So if I just go to the desktop, so there's also on pause. So let me just clear it. Okay, go back to it. That's by holding down the home button. That's how you do the taskbar thing on Android. So when I go back, it's on resume, home button. So it's still there. If I kill it on pause, and if I kill it here, there won't be anything there. There's nothing here. Okay. But suffice to say that whatever you do to exit the foreground, whatever you do to exit the foreground, on pause will always be called. And however you get back in there, on resume will always be called. So one idea is to save things, do a quick save. Okay, I say quick save because apparently that's what they want you to do. See if I can find it here. Okay, so towards the lower half of this gigantic web page here, they single out on resume and on pause too, because for special treatment. Call when the system is about to start resuming another activity. This method is typically used to commit unsaved changes, to persist data, stop animation, other things that may be consuming CPU, and so on. You should do whatever it does very quickly. Okay, very quickly, because the next activity will not be resumed until it returns. So that's why I'm saying here, do a quick save on when you see on pause, and then when there's on resume, you do a quick restore. Okay. So let me have a simple example of this. I won't actually do this, but let me have a simple example to show why do we even need to, save stuff to disk. Because that's not common in the Windows world, because once in the Windows or in the desktop world, also in the server world, once the program is running, it's running, it's in memory, it's safe. Okay, so if you switch from your web browser to your word processor, I mean, the stuff in your web browser is going to be there. Okay, it's not like when we go back to, nothing's there anymore. It goes back to homepage or something, right? Android has this property that the whole thing can go away when you move. When you exit when you switch to another activity, when you multitask, this whole thing can go away, go poof. So I have an example for that. So I'm kind of back in my program here, my simple, I need to, this thing crashed. Okay, so back in my program, Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna have an example where I'm gonna change this into a button. Oh man, everything's gone. Okay, I will change this into a button, and then I'll display a number here. And then whenever I click on the button, I'm gonna increment the number. So it's a basic example. So I gave the button an ID. I'll be changing the text of the button, so I'll get a reference to the button using the find view thing. So adding the event handler for button here. So I need to have a counter variable, right? It's Java, so Java in C# things default to private. I have the habit of not putting it here. So I guess I think I'll initialize it here. Yeah. So whenever I click on it, increment counter, and then change the text, right? So this should be okay. I'm gonna run it. Right. There we go. Whoa. Click on the button. Clicking on the button again. Use some mouse to click on it. There. Now if I rotate, this goes to 0 again, right? So that's what I'm saying. You know, it's like everything's like gone, lost. You know, this counter is lost. The whole thing's being recreated. Alternatively, if I exit, that's still in there. Okay. So if I simply go somewhere else, it will still be there at least. I'm gonna bring up the log. So so if okay, so here we have it. So watch the log. So if I exit, go to home, I press the home button, go home, hit on pause. And I close it over here, right? So at this point in time, oh, it crashed again. It's not compatible with this, huh? Eclipse. Crashed. Okay, so I was saying that if I restart the program, that counter number that was 2 is going to be 0. So the on pause is it's a chance to save your stuff, because what happens is, okay, I press the home button and on pause got triggered, and then I go over to, you know, this task, this thing here, and use it to close it. So what I'm saying is that on pause is your last chance, basically your last best chance to save whatever it is that you need to save. Okay. So if you need to save things, on pause is the place to do it. So like a quick save to disk. But you know, they say you have to do it quick, because that thing that I just read. Okay, just gonna bring it. Oh, yeah, it came back. Wow. Ooh. Did this thing just restart itself? Oh. Okay, so that's the role of on pause, on resume, is to save things, reload things, you know, to disk, to the flash memory. But that's not the approach for rotation. Well, one thing is that, you know, the flash memory will wear out if you save to it too much. So that's one thing. But the other thing is that this function is just a blank function. There's no object here. There's no, like, if you want to save things, you know, you have to do it all yourself. Whereas this other approach, these two guys have the bundle object. You know, on create has this bundle object that you can use to help you save. This makes it a lot easier to save things. So I'll go over the second approach here. So the second approach is actually not in this chart, right? This is this thing on save instance. So this chart it's not the whole story, of course. It only tells you like part of the story. There's another chart down here. And they're talking about here saving activity state. right? So activity is running, another activity comes into the foreground. You go here. Actually, what happens when you rotate? When I rotate my phone, this also happens. It's not just another activity comes into the foreground. Yeah, that's true. But specifically, what I'm most concerned about is rotation. Because remember, when I rotate the phone, the text on the button reset to 0. So this will take care of that rotation problem. Or I can use the on resume on pause. So what am I saying here? Go back. So I'm saying is that, when I rotate, this 5 is going to be 0 again. So to prevent that, when I rotate, 5 becomes 0. So what I need to do is, like, inside on pause, I need to save the 5 to the flash memory. And then inside on resume, I need to load the 5, load that number back. And then, restart at 5. So that's one way of taking care of this rotation thing. But that's not too common. That's not good. A better approach is to use this. And there's even a better approach than this later on, using the retain fragment system. But because rotation is so common, so this is another, in this approach, I'll show you how to do it is with this approach, okay? So in this approach, I'm using this other set of functions. So I'll kind of simplify things and just comment it out. I'm going to need this later on. Yeah, I'm not going to remove it. So on save instance and on create. Now on create, it's already there, of course. Yeah, this is on create. Okay, anyway, on save instance. Let me put a log here. Let me put a log in the on create as well. Okay. So activity running, rotation, that's what I'm most concerned about. Because as I have shown, if you simply swap to another activity and then come back in, the button, that button will still retain the number. The button is only reset, that number gets reset only when you rotate. So this is where you save stuff, activities, you're going out of your activity. And this is where you restore. Now restore, you can do it in either on create or on restore instance state. So I'm going to do it with on create. Since, you already have a function called on create anyways. And that's basically what it is. You're recreating your whole thing. So here, the reason this is preferred over these two, is because of this object that I have here that makes it easier for you to save. You don't want to write to the flash memory too much. Like I said, it's going to wear out the flash memory. So out state, so you're going to put stuff in here. I think it's put. It's put. Yeah, it's put. So they have a lot of put functions. So if I want to save my integer, what's that? This thing put integer. Oh, not that. This one. Yeah, this one. So key is like a lookup key, right? It's like a dictionary, like key value. This thing is basically a dictionary. This is the key. The value is the counter. So over here, and then over here, I'm going to restore it. So I'll just kind of comment for myself. Restore state. Because it was put, right? I used put int. It's gonna be get int. Or just this one that lets you specify a default value. Let me default 0. Okay, so this counter string is the same as this this key that I use. That's what that thing is. Okay, so I run it. Oh, that's gonna be good. Oh, it does this thing. Yeah? It's got nothing here, and it's got a bunch of red things here. And it blows up. Oh, here's a message finally. See, Android has it died. So where did it die? Well, the topmost thing, right? May enable cannot start activity because of this. Okay, unable to start activity for Lewis. That's my package name. Whoa, this is bad. Eclipse is filled with stuff. Oh, hey. Oh, okay. So this way. Okay. See, I put my mouse here. It covers it. Hey, now I can put my mouse over. Okay. Okay, enable start activity. This is activity that's unable to start. That's my package name. Show you. Oh, whatever. Okay, and the reason is this exception, null pointer. So I only added 2 lines, right? It's either this thing or either this thing's null or this thing's null. You can use the debugger to look for itself, but yeah, when the application first starts, this thing's gonna be null. So I need a null check. Okay. So the first time on create is run, this thing will be null, and so this thing is crashing because of the null pointer. Okay. Wow, this is my mobiler bug. Oh, I should also show the log. The log. So I'm gonna click on it and tap on it, or I can click on it. Now I rotate it. It didn't work. But hey, at least they got called, right? OnSave gets called, and then followed by onCreate. Tap on it. Oh. So it did work. I just need to update the button, the text. Going back here. Yeah, I updated the counter. I reloaded the counter variable from this bundle object. A bundle, right? It's a dictionary. But well, it's more than a dictionary because you can store different data types in it. A dictionary, you can only store one data type, right? Like integers or something. Dictionary of objects. Hey. Okay, so I restored the value that number into the variable, but I never updated the button, the text of the button, right? So let's do this. Or you can always you can argue that this is always valid, right? Even if it's on the very first time, this is always going to be valid. And he crashed it again, but it didn't have anything here. That's even well. I was pressing a back button to get to quit. Go back. Yeah, so this can't be like this because the button, the reference for the button's obtained down here. So that's in general. You do this restore state thing after you get all the references. It's like you have to do this like late in the creation cycle. Which brings up this other point. They have this other function, right? They say you can use onCreate or onRestore instance state. So which one happens first? I think the onCreate happens first. That's why people do that. Use the onRestore instance state because then you don't have to worry about the ordering of the statements, right? Because that last bug happened because this stuff is up here at a point when this button reference is still hasn't been obtained. Okay. So rotate, so it stays there. So it's working. So it's working. Okay. So the last point is look at the timing of the on restore instance state. So it's in portrait. So I rotate it, now it's in landscape. So look at this. So on create and on restore instance state. So on restore does happen after on create. Therefore, if I put this stuff here in on restore instance, and I'll then it's gonna work. The add button will be there. Okay. So you can put your restore stuff here, or you can do what I'm doing now is make sure that on this restore state stuff happens after your creation stuff, basically. Okay. Oh, final point on destroy. so I kind of commented out this. I'll restore this stuff. This is back to the activity lifecycle. So on destroy is called on the exit, but it's only on an orderly exit. Okay, so it's over here. So your activity is running on destroy. Your activity is finished or being destroyed by the system. So on destroy is kind of like the Windows closing event in Windows world. You can put your save data saving things here too, because I mentioned you can save here, right, on pause, or you can sort of save your stuff inside on destroy. So I want to show the on destroy thing. Well, emphasize it's only there for orderly exits. Okay, so I have here, so run it. Clear. So I'm gonna increment 2 times, I guess. Okay. I'll push my back button. It's on pause. Where's my on destroy? Well, that's not expected. I had an on destroy thing, right? So this is 0. So maybe the wrong version of the program is being run or something. But now it's there. Ooh. Okay, so I cleared it. I'm gonna press the back button to exit. So now it's correct. You see on destroy, I didn't change it in code. I think it's running the old version that didn't have the on destroy printout. Okay, so if I use the back button, does that, right? Try again, increment the button a few times, press the back button, you see it on destroy. And what I'm trying to say is that that's an orderly exit. That's the back button. The back button exit, kind of like the X button on Windows. If you just press home, so there's on pause and there's also on safe instance. If I kill it over here, there's no on destroy. That's what I'm trying to say. So everything's gone. There's nothing here. So going back to that chart that they have, on pause is the surefire way to save things. On pause always gets triggered. So you see activity running. On destroy doesn't get triggered. I just showed you a case where on destroy doesn't get triggered. On pause does get triggered. So if you use on destroy to save, you just have to know that sometimes it's possible to bypass on destroy. Okay, now I'll talk about how to launch a child activity. All the examples so far, and most of the future examples will just involve only one activity. Maybe all of the future examples will only involve one activity. I try to keep things as simple as possible, but in general, you're gonna have a bunch of activities, and so I'm gonna show you how to launch a new activity. I'm sticking to the same stuff, but I'm going to delete most of it. Still a little faster than create a new one. So all these things, got rid of those. Get rid of that. On restore. So all the lifecycle business, I'm getting rid of it. Okay. This way I don't have to recreate the button basically. Oh, just click me. Something more generic and a more generic name now. Control rename it. Okay. And yeah, I'm not doing this anymore. So when I click the button, I'm gonna launch a new activity, which is launching a new activity is like launching a new window in Windows. Oh. Okay, so first create a new activity, and there's a wizard for that. Oh, I'll show the wizard. Scale it here, I guess. Hey. Oh. Trying to resize Eclipse to show it. There. New. Sorry. Okay. So right click here. New. 那地上 other. Really? Okay. Other, because it's pretty common. They should put it here. So it's, you know, it's all these things more. You can have more stuff if you install like Python or something. You're gonna PyDef. You're gonna have more stuff like a Python category. Okay, so the Android category, Android activity. So blank activity. So I'll call it the child activity. Okay. Okay, so this is the window I want to show. This shows what the wizard is doing. So the manifest file. So we're, yeah, because all the space seems wasted up here. Make more space. Make more space. Okay, the manifest file. Not sure why this is highlighted. It looks the same. All kinds of bugs in Eclipse. Okay, now this is highlighted because this part is new. The manifest file has an activity tag. So here's the activity tag for the main activity, which is, you know, you don't worry about it. The wizard takes care of it for you. But for a new activity, the child activity, there's another activity tag here. So okay. This thing string is just like a title. Like the title bar that you see in the activity. That's not important. This one, child. Okay, so this is the layout file. Oh no, this is a menu. Menu for the action bar. It's kind of like equivalent to the main menu for Windows, but not using that either. Oh, okay. This is a layout. So this is all new, right? Like original source, nothing. No, this is the layout file. You know how the main activity has a layout file and also a Java code file? So this is a layout file and this is the code file. Okay, so most important stuff. Okay, the code. You have a code file, you have a layout file. Not using the menu. The title, no big deal. And an entry in XML. So the absolute essential, minimum essential is, you know, the code file, the Java file, the layout file, and an entry in the XML. Okay, so finish. I'll put this window back here. Okay. Oh, so they even open it for me, huh? This is the... So by default, okay, this is the layout for the child activity. So by default, they have the hello thing, hello world thing, but just to show that, because then it looks just like the other one. This is the child activity. Okay, so nothing else. It's just like the main activity. It's got on create and this menu thing, which I'll talk about some future video. Oh, not using a counter anymore. Okay, so that should be it. So parent implicit intent. Okay, so to start an activity, you create an intent object and then you call the start activity. Okay, so basically my plan is like people will click the click me button, and when that thing got clicked, it's gonna come here on to the on click thing. So intent new that's not good. New, there we go, intent. So which one, right? It's typically this one. Ooh, when I highlight it here, ooh. You need context. Okay, okay. So context, you would say this, right? Right now we're in the main activity, but if you say this, then this points to this anonymous class. So it should be the main activity dot this. Okay, so this main activity dot this is gonna point to the current instance of main activity. Okay, so that's the okay. Now this one's what I want to get into. Now it's class. Okay, so for now I'll explain this in the next slide, which I call a detour. Wait, that's not right. Okay, this is activity you want to start. Okay, this is the activity that you're in. So this should be child activity. Getting late at night, huh? Okay, so and then you call the start activity thing. So start activities. Well, you can start a whole bunch of them. Okay, start activity, texting intent. Start activity, texting intent, and options. Some options here. Some options. Whatever. Don't worry about that. Just use the basic one. Intent I. So if this works, basically I clicked on that button, it's gonna get here, it's gonna create this intent. Intent is like what you want to do. It's like what's your intention. So kind of I'm defining one word with a very similar word. Yeah, it's your intention. It's what you want to do, and then it's like make a wish, right? And the start activity takes this I. Okay, so if it works, it starts up the child activity, which is just this this window with this message. This is the child activity. While I was running it. So button, I'll click it. So this is the child activity. So it works. So now I'll take a detour. Talk about reflection, you can skip it, and I'll continue to talk about child activity. Okay, and the detour it's about this thing. It's about this thing. Okay. Okay, now I'm taking a detour away from Android activities, and I'll talk about Java reflection. Because when you start an activity, new intent, this thing here, which is the reflection in Java, and reflection is an interesting topic, and this is actually the first time I've seen it. There's no such thing as reflection in C++, right? And in C# there is reflection, but you never see it because Microsoft, hides it from you. So So now's a good time to talk about what is this? Like, what's on the other side of this thing? What are they doing here? Okay, so I'll close this project for now. Oh, close all. And I'll start a plain old Java project. And no, the project is empty. So package name Lewis. Yeah, it has a main function. Generate the main function. Yeah, make sure nothing's broken. Do the hello world thing, right? I hate this part. It doesn't always like not show up. And control F11 to run and hello. Okay, so that's the basic Java program running. Okay, so to demonstrate reflection, I should make a class, right? Empty class will do for now. So reflection is like this. Function. So reflection, it was like this. Basically, I had this. Okay, something like that. And so, okay, for what's on the other side, right? This. Okay. Caller side, something that my class was the function side. This thing actually. Okay, so this is a. Let's see, is this cannot make static reference non-static? Oh gosh. Okay, static. Okay, now the error goes away. So it's a class that's called class. That's I mean, they should call it like class type or something, right? Anyways, the name of this class is called class. Okay, and it's parameterized, but for the purpose of this intro, it doesn't really matter. I'll use question mark all the way. Question mark. I don't know what it is. I don't really care. And it's basically type information. It contains all the information of this class, of this object. So what can you do inside of F? That's the question, right? What's on the other side? When I had this start activity thing, and I have to give my type information. What's on the other side of start activity? And basically anything's possible. So I'll just go over go over the slide quickly, and I'll try out some of these functions, but not all of these functions. You can this class. Okay, this is a name of a class. Gosh, okay, you can get the name. You can get the name, which means get this, right? My class. You can create an object. Create this class. You can use any constructors. A new instance will use the default constructor. You can use any of the constructors actually. You can get a list of all the constructors and then use new instance on the constructor that you want to use. You can do anything. You can get all the fields and set those fields. You can get a list of all the methods and and call and call those methods via invokes. Okay, so the short answer is, what can you do here? Like inside of F, you can do anything. Okay, so let me just go over that get name. Okay, so inside of f I can print out the name of this. Okay, so it's there, get name. Okay, now just some minor background. Oh, let me expand this a little bit more. Okay, so some minor background, like why is this such a big deal? Why I already know the name of this, right? Why do I need this? This is a big deal when this portion of function is written by a completely different company at a completely different time, and that's the case here. Like I wrote the activity, but Google wrote the start activity, and it's through reflection that through this mechanism here that they find out all about my class. Okay, so just imagine this is written in like today. This stuff, the F thing, this code could have been written like 5 years ago or something. It would still work. Yeah, this thing can work with future code. Okay. Just run it. Just run this. So there, I lose my class, the package name and the class name. So get name really gets the package name, huh? Return name of the entity. Okay, so it's not that obvious, but get name will return the package name as shown here. As shown here. Next function to try, new instance. Well, and then I need to do some more here. Get a toString. Oh, an object of type my class or something. Okay, so this is string. So the next step is I'll demonstrate in new instance. So you see new instance is returning a T, but for me it's a question mark, right? I don't know what it is. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, show up. Why doesn't it show up? I'm trying to get an error. Okay, there we go. Unhandled exception. Oh, illegal act. Okay, so this is where you start doing this thing, right? Or of course, then throw. Okay. Now, of course, if this throws exception, this one has to catch it. This one has, so whatever. Oh. Okay. Oh. Like that. So I use new instance to create an object that should be my class. Okay, so I'm using new instance to create my class. But because this code, let's just say that. I'll say, okay, this is written in, say, it was 5 years ago, 2009. How's that? Now, because this code F is written in 2009, pretend it's written in 2009, so it doesn't know what this is. That's why it's a question mark. But I can prove that this is actually my class because I have this toString here. Okay, run it. So this is an object of type my class. Okay, to show that once you have the class the class. Once you have the class type information, you can create that class, and you can create that class. This is using default constructor. Next, get declare constructor is going to get you all the constructors. Okay, because this thing is using a default constructor. You get all the constructors at the you have get constructors and also have to get declare constructors. Yeah, a lot of things have two versions. Get constructor, get declare constructor. Kind of fast forward a little bit here. You have get field and a get declare field. Okay, so like what's the difference, right? Go back. Oh, let me put this window here. I can't move this one. Oh, let's just go online. Yeah, relying on the Eclipse things. Okay, where was the get? Where's the other one? What? I was expecting an Oracle thing actually on top of it. So there we go. That get constructors, get declare constructor. So get constructor, all of the public constructors. Okay. Get declare constructor will get all the constructors. These are public, protected, default, and private constructors. So in general, the declared version is everything. Okay, protected, private, whatever. And the get constructor version is just the ones that you can use actually. All the public constructors. This is less informative type. So ready to hold this. Okay. And that's in general the difference. Get declare fields is gonna get. I don't know which one's which. Oh, man. Oh, it's that. Wrong window. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so I'll go over that a little bit more next, but this one gets all of them, okay? And this one only gets the public. It gets only public. This one gets gets the private stuff too. So I can demonstrate that now, maybe. I just need multiple constructors here, right? Here's this one. This one. So get constructors, return a bunch of constructors. This thing. Oh man, I hate that. See how the cursor is gone? I type it, you see, there's no cursor. Man, this thing's like filled with bugs. So I get the array of constructors. I can run through this array of constructors. So what can you do with constructors? For this gets a bunch of constructors objects, right? You can use a new instance to create a new instance by just get the param type here. Okay, so if you want to create a new instance, dot new instance will let you use that constructor to create a new instance, but it's easier for demonstration as you just get a param type. Okay, so param type is gonna return a class array here. Control copy. Oh, there goes the thing again. Every time I go to that, oh, I see. Every time I go in there, the cursor disappears. No cursor. Okay. Okay, so I have a list of constructors in con, and then I get parameters, this bunch of param types. So here I'll print out the param types. Oops. Okay. So for each constructor, I'm printing out constructor parenthesis and all the param types, and followed by parenthesis. So I'll run it, see what happens. Okay. So I picked up two constructors: the default empty one, no parameters, and this other constructor. I did not pick up this one because it's private. So this one. So now I'm using declared constructors versus just constructors. Now, when I use declare constructors, when I use this declare constructors, I also picked up the constructor of the float, which is private. Okay, so that's the difference between declare constructors and constructors. Declare constructor will get you the private stuff too. And same thing here, the declare fields will get you the private fields, and declare methods will get you the private methods. Okay, so I'll move on to these two. Okay, so next, how to work with the fields. So you call get declare fields. With the S. What does that return? Pop up. There. Alt R. Okay. Rename it fields. So I'm getting a bunch of fields. I'm iterating over these fields. What can I do with the fields, right? I can get type. Weird. It's called param type here. Okay. Get type here. I can get the name of the field. I can even change the field. Now this thing set xx set. This thing changes the value of the field. This will only work if the field is accessible, right? It's not going to work if it's private, for example. So make some fields up, right? private in G. How's that? Get type. So it's no longer like a bunch of types. Each field has only one type. What else is there? Get modifier. And let me try that. Get modifiers. Huh, there's two. Are these the same? Oh well. It's returning an int. Right, because they say, you know, to return an int. So how do you work with the modifier? So here's C modifier. Modifier class. It's kind of, you know, you just scroll around a bunch of stuff here. Well, okay, this is what it is. These, you know, if it's a public, then it says, you know, it's like a bunch of flags. Yeah, if you you know, go through this page, you know, scroll down here, is toString, return a modifier describing the access flags. So I'm not gonna. You can look for the flags here, or I'll take the easy way. I'll just use toString. So well, it's okay. So that's the plan. Modifier. That toString, right? And this modifier. So that's how that's my printout. Okay. I guess I'll print it out. I'll print out the modifier first, and then I'll get the type, right? So here print, and then here I'll print type. Okay. Print. Put a space here. So I get the fields, I get a modifier number. It's got, you know, the bits in that number have special meanings. So I'm not gonna decode those bits. So I'll just rely on modifier.toString to, you know, print me something readable. I'll print the type. Type is here. Okay. Oh, there's the canonical name. Oh, this is a symbol name. Whatever. I think I'll make a print line. So I expect something like this. Yeah, modify that. I won't print out the variable name though. Although I should do that too, huh? Okay. And let me do that too. Print name. So modifier type name. Okay. So this won't be print line anymore. And this thing needs a space. The I field, the if field, field number I, name. What kind of name? Okay, that's only name. So this thing had a bunch of names, like simple name or whatever. Oh, this one will have a new line. Okay, let me try this. Oh, okay. Oh, there's no modifier. I was hoping for something. Let me try it. I was actually hoping for package or something. Okay. There we go. Protected in X, Y, and this. And so remember, this code could have been, this stuff here could have been written like 2009, like years ago, and would still work with, you know, this thing that gets passed in. And that's the whole gist of this whole detour. Okay. That in effect, I have no idea when, the star activity is written, but it must have been written many years ago. So that's fields, and you can set the fields too, but it takes a little bit too much time. So I'll just go over the methods, and then pretty much be done with it. Because that one's kind of interesting too. The interesting part is because the methods inherit. I mean, my class is, I'm not inheriting from anything, but it's implicitly inheriting from the object, right? The object, the parent of all objects. So that makes a big difference, here. If I say just get fields, if I use this one, it's gonna leave out the private or what? There, it has this one. It left out the it's easier to just run it over again. So there, it left out the protected and it left out the private when I use get modifiers. Okay, when I use get fields. Recycle the for loop at least, right? So methods. So get methods or get declare methods. I'll try this first. And then this change method. Get methods, of course, return the method object. All are methods. Okay. So I'm iterating all the methods over all the methods. Again, there's get modifiers. Oh. Okay, and then get return type. Okay. So I think I'll just get name. I think we get the point here. Just don't want to drag this out too long. I do want to use, go through this example because it shows inheritance. We're on the if method. Get name, right? I'll get the name of the method. And I guess that's it. Need to put some methods here, right? Oh, this is kind of nice. So private F1. Oh. I'm gonna even just make it all void. It's gotta work, void or non-void. Okay. Oh, okay there. Oh. Huh. Then what order is it using? It's doing public first, private next, and protect last. Not sure where the order come from. And make it a little prettier. run. Okay, so it picked up all three. Okay, even if it's private, it picks it up. Okay, that's get declare methods. Now let me switch to get methods. This is interesting because it's going to pick up the inheritance, but it won't pick up the private. Okay, there. Just go. So it only picked up F3, the public one. It did not pick up F2 and did not pick up F1. Okay. It only picked up the public one, but it also picked up all the inherited stuff. These things inherited from the object class. Okay. So I have here. I just want to show that. Okay, so F2 is actually accessible. All right, see if this. Right, I want to prove that protected should be accessible, right? Because we're in the same package. That's one of those Java quirks. Protected elements or protected fields and protected methods are accessible from the outside. Okay, so this is accessible, but it did not get picked up. Okay. Okay, so get methods pick up the stuff that you're inheriting, but it didn't pick up the protected method. Even though I can clearly call it over here. Okay. So get methods, get declare methods. The declared methods will pick up everything that I declare. I guess that's where the name is. Okay, it's gonna pick up the private one too. But even though I won't be able to call it, it's security manager or something, so it's gonna stop me when I try to use invoke. Okay. Okay, so that's a little reflection detour. Show you what could be happening on the other side. It's not that much information on this thing, but in general, once you give it the class type information, they can do anything. They can create new classes, they can use any of your constructors, they can modify your fields subjected to any security limitations. Of course, the private fields will be blocked by the security manager. They can invoke any method and so on. Okay. And of course, all this stuff can be written like years ago, and it will still work on any new object you create. Okay, so done with this, I'll close this. Okay. So I'm done with the reflection. This is the end of the reflection segment. Okay, so now I'm back on track talking about child activities. I previously showed how to start up an activity. So this is the code that I was using previously. The Hello World Java thing, Detour, is over, so this project won't be used anymore. So previously I just declared intent and I call start activity, and I commented on how this is my first encounter of reflection, so I kind of took a detour to talk about that because it's so rare to see reflection in actual practice. So that's the detour. Now I'm back on talking about child activity. I'll talk about how to pass arguments from the main activity into the child activity. So this is the main, this is the child, this is parent, I should say, main activity, parent. So one way to pass is that you can put a bundle into it and you can put stuff into it, It's like a bundle basically. So let's say I want to pass a number, or no, wait, it's a text view, right? So let's pass a message into it then. This one to pass a string into it. So what's that called? I don't think I have it. I don't think I have an ID for no ID. So for IDs, this ID thing is kind of like global, right? Everybody can go r.id. whatever and get it. So have some kind of naming scheme. So I'll call it child. You know, this prefix for all the IDs in the child activity. Child message text view. Okay. And I'll call this message. Okay. So this is a message from the main activity. Okay. Push it out here. Okay. So it's just like before. It's a lot like before. I create intent, but this time I'm putting stuff onto the intent, like I'm piggybacking things onto intent. So this is on the parent end. So on the child end, they would use get intent and then get extra. Okay. To get access to the string that I'm passing in. So get intent, right? And then once they have the intent, they get to get extra. So I'm passing in a string, so it's this one. Okay, it's a character sequence. That's an Android string. What do you call it? Message, right? This message matches this thing. It's like a dictionary. This is the key, and this is the value. So next I want to render the message here. So this is a default message. Just try it. I'm gonna render it. I'm gonna override it with this. Whoa. Can't convert. Wait a minute here. I had that null pointer thing before, right? So return intent. So this thing get intent is not gonna return null, right? Because that's how you start the activity. There's some intent. But this thing here, you know, it returns the value. Or it returns a null if nothing exists. So okay. Below. Okay. Oh, where's the cursor again? Oh, missing cursor. What's that returning? Character sequence. Every time I do that, I think it goes. It's character sequence. I don't want to spend this presentation going on long enough, right? So don't want to make more mistakes on purpose anymore. Okay, so character sequence. If character sequence is not null, then actually convert it to string. Then I actually display it. Oh, actually, that thing takes in a string, right? Yeah, it takes in a string, so Okay, so I extract it just like this thing says. I use get intent to get intent. Use get xxx extra it depends on your data type, right? I'm extracting character sequence. Once I extract it, I can put it in here. Okay, I'll put it into the text view, the message, the text block label, the label here. Okay, so that should happen. I click this button. Code's gonna get here. Create a new intent. Piggyback. Attach a string to the intent. Start activity. And then execution runs over here. Extract the intent. Extract the message. And then show in the text box. Okay, so I'll run it. Okay, so that's basically it. I click on the button. This message from main activity. So that's how you pass. That's how you pass arguments to main activity. You use that put extra thing, which is the same interface as a bundle. Previously I mentioned to use this thing and also this thing to preserve values across rotations. It's like the same thing here. So it's gonna have the same issues. So I want to mention this static. There's a different approach to passing variable. So first of all, what's wrong with this put extra thing? Okay, it's in green, so it's the preferred approach. So I have to go back here. So what do they have, right? So put extra allows you to pass booleans, bundle, very important, bundle, serializable, and parsable. Okay, so it's got all the basic data types like int, float, long, or whatever, all your basic data types, string. But for advanced objects, you have to convert your object to a bundle or something serializable or something parsable. Parsable is like the Android version of serializable. Okay, so your object has to implement one of those interfaces, basically. Or you have something that turn your object into a bundle and pass it in. So if someone gives you an object that's not parsable, that's not using the parsable data value, and that's not using the serializable thing, they're not using the serializable interface, what are you gonna do? Like, how do you pass it, right? So that's the static variable is a very convenient way to do that. So you just do the static here, static child activity. What's it called? Message, right? Just attach it here. Don't need this. Well, I still need this. I still need this line. Right, child. Oh. So instead of using put extras, I can stuff this into this, and over here I just get out from that, right? I don't have to do this anymore. I do have to check for null here. Okay, so in this mechanism, I'm using a static member variable. Okay, I define static member variable, stuff it there, and extract it here. See if that works. Click. There. So it works. Main activity passing. This is passing via a static variable. So it's in red because this is this is not the preferred way to do it. The reason it's kind of like bad form. This thing is like a global variable. And the same thing applies to singleton. If you look online, look for singleton. That's basically using the same principle. They're both static variable and singleton. They're both effectively global variables. Okay. But sometimes you can't use that. You can't use the put extra. You can only use put extra if it's a simple data type like a string, or if the object has bundled, or it's parsable or serializable. Okay, or you have to somehow take apart the object break it into simple data types and then reconstruct it over there. So, and this is so efficient too, because if you use put extra or whatever, you're incurring process time to to deconstruct the variable and then reconstruct it back together. To deconstruct a complex object and then to reconstruct that complex object back again. Whereas this one's just passing in an address basically. Okay, so this is pretty efficient, but the downside is it is global. So it's currently considered bad form, but there are cases where there's no other choice. So that's why I mention it. Okay, so that's passing variables into the child activity. Now, how do you get a return from a child activity? So I'm gonna return something, from a child activity. So when you call start activity, you're saying you're not expecting a return value. If you are expecting, if the parent activity is expecting some kind of return from the child activity, you use the start activity for result. I'll get my screen capture back. Okay, so it's over here, start activity. Let me get rid of this. So instead of this, it's called start. Start activity for result. Again, there's, do you have this version? Okay, so scroll over here. Oh, you have this version. This version has options. This version doesn't have options. Just use this basic one, the non-option one. 10i request code. Request code, if you is this discern this number comes back to you later on. So I'll say request code 1. So to demonstrate request code, I need to have 2 buttons. Okay. Top one and then the second one. So change your linear layout so I can have 2 buttons easily. Make it vertical button 1, click me number 1. Very creative, huh? So here's button 2, click me number 2. Okay, 2 buttons and button 1. Let me put in a number. Oh boy, just be sure. Number. So here's the button 1. button 1, I'm gonna have two buttons, button 1, button 2, right? So button 1 get the reference to button 1. The event handler for button 1 is gonna start the activity. Okay, both button 1, button 2. My intention is that both buttons will start the same activity, the same child activity. They'll both do the same thing, but they will be passing in different things. Okay, so button 1 is gonna pass in number 1, and then button 1 is gonna call it using a request code of 1. Okay. So button 2 is gonna okay, so button 2 is gonna be passing in a number 2, and button 2 is gonna use a request code of 2. Okay. And this won't work because I'm no longer attaching the message, right? So on the child side, this is the parent side. This is the parent side. This is the child side. On the child side, to return stuff, you're gonna use I will use set result. That puts a result into the whatever buffer that Android is using to copy stuff over, and I'll call finish to terminate the child activity. Okay, so over here, instead of this previously the child activity has this label, I'm gonna change it into a button. It's like the finish button, right? So my intention is that when I click the button, the child activity will terminate, will finish. Finish. So there's a button called finish. I'm gonna get the reference. Get a reference to the button. Okay, so once again, okay, so when I click the button, I want to finish, but I want to send results back to the parent activity. So if I simply finish, okay, this is going to quit the current activity. This is kind of like window.close, okay, from Windows World. Now to set result, right there, go here. Oh, and let me say how does all of this stuff actually work. Okay, this finish is actually a member of the activity, and set result is also a member of activity. And the reason I can call them directly is because this thing is an inner class. This class, this on listener. This is a class that implements the on-click listener interface. This anonymous class, this class without name, is inside of this class, which is an activity. So therefore, this class, this anonymous class that starts over here and ends over here. This class, this class in blue here, which has no name, this class can access any methods in this activity. In the parent class. Okay, that's why I can just call this. Okay. Okay, now let me go back to the result. So I was talking about this. Okay, so control. So there's actually two versions. There's a version where you just return a simple integer, the so-called result code. So if I just want to return a number, I use that. Or if I want to be a little fancier, I can use this. Okay. So I can use this or that. So say I want to return 100 and intent. So here I can put, let me just put a message here. They all put extra. Say, now this is why I'm gonna personalize it a little bit, okay? Because I have two buttons in main, right? The two buttons are starting the same activity. There's both starting child activity. They're using different parameters. The button number 1 is using 1. Button number 2 is using number 2. Okay. So what's that called? Is there a name for this thing? Right. Val. Oh gosh. Okay. Int num from parent, number from parent. Because I want to customize my return. I don't want just this will return something to the parent, but it's gonna be the same thing. Okay. And that's an integer. So way down here, get in extra. Is that what I used? I put in a number. Okay. So if I click on button number 1, I'm going to pass in a 1. And then I'll see it here. Equal 1. Okay. And I'll say reply for button number 1. Okay, set result 100. Else if button number 2 is gonna pass into 2. Same stuff here. Button number 2, I'll return a 200, right? So in the case of button number 2, I'm sending back a 200 integer, and a message saying reply for button number 2, personalized message. And just for completeness, so okay. So this is how this is what I do on the activity end. Set result to set up the stuff that you want to return to the parent, and call finish to end the activity. So now go back to the parent side. What the parent side is on activity result. So parent side, once you call call this, the execution goes back to the operating system, right? Once this happens, when the child activity returns stuff, it's gonna be activity result or something, right? It's got that thing. On activity result, right? On activity result, got the right stuff. Okay, so request code is what you stuffed in here, right? Okay, so I have two buttons. Either one, if I click button 1, it's gonna end up here. If I click on button 2, it's also gonna end up here. So how do I know, did I click on button 1 or is it button 2, right? So maybe you can parse the stuff here. You can parse the stuff. They have different numbers, right? You can do that, or you can use the request code. Because when I call set start activity for result, when I call that, I have a request code. Okay, this request code number of 1. Okay, and this request code shows up here again. So okay, here's what I'm gonna do. So if the request code is 1, this is because activity returns after got clicked. Okay. So the request code is how you know, like, what triggered the activity, like from which activity is it coming back, so after button 2 got clicked. Okay, so because request code equal 1 means button 1 got clicked, I'm gonna put the result in button 1, right? So I'm gonna have like this: button 1 dot set text data. There's a result code. Should do that. Result code equals I'll display the result code and I'll display the data. Okay, result code. Yeah, result code, request code, right? It sound like, right? no, result code is the thing. This thing. See, set result code. Result code is what's being returned. Okay. And message equals message is in the data, get char sequence, right? So result code, okay, message equals that. Okay, so a quick rundown what happens. I'm gonna click on either button and the child activity is gonna look at who's calling it. If it's from button 1, it's gonna attach this message and it's gonna attach 100. If it's coming from button number 2, it's gonna attach this message and attach 200. And then on the parent, it's gonna, if I click on button number 1, I should change the text of button number 1. If I click on button number 2, it should change the text for button number 2. Okay, so run it. Hopefully it works. Okay. So this, activity right now. So when I click finish, it's gonna return stuff and then it's gonna exit. There. It's got this. Okay, result code 100. If I click on number 2, start the same activity, and then when I click finish, it will say result code 200, reply for button number 2. So there. So a quick review. What just all the stuff. This stuff is in chronological order. A parent will create an intent, an explicit intent, right? The next, slide is implicit intent. So a parent will create intent. The parent will use this to pass arguments to the child activity as necessary. If put extra is not convenient, use a static variable if you have to. It's bad. It's kind of like a global variable, but if there's no other way, you have to take the lesser of two evils sometimes. Sometimes you have to do it this way. And then if you're not expecting anything in return, you use start activity. If you're expecting things in return, you use the start activity for result. So execution now goes to child activity. Child activity, if you're expecting inputs, arguments from the parent, you use get intent followed by get xx extra to get the arguments from the parent. If the child activity needs to return things, it's going to use set result followed by finish. The finish function will exit the child activity and return the execution to the parent activity. If the parent activity is expecting results, the parent activity will have to write this function. The Android will call this function on activity result, to handle the return values from the child activity. Okay, so that's it for the activity, for the child activity for this topic. Now I'll talk about implicit intents. The intents that I have used previously are explicit intents because you're explicitly telling the Android operating system what to start. It's like this new intent, right? This is the context. Start this thing, okay? Explicitly. Don't start anything else. Start this thing, child activity. Okay, implicit intents is for starting something that someone else wrote. So you don't know what the name of the activity is, right? The operating system will find it for you. So I can only do this because I also wrote child activity. I know what name to use. So implicit intent is a way to start programs that other people wrote, and you can find it here. So here, their Android API guy has this good section on the most common implicit intents. So this section, intents and filters, they talk about intents here. They're going to talk about implicit intents a little bit here, intent matching, implicit intents. But for example, I'll use this stuff. Now there's a lot of them, okay? Like a lot of these. And I'll just use the simplest example, and probably one of the most useful one too is how to start a web browser. Okay, so here's the implicit intent. Just copy this blob of code, right? So previously I click button number 1. This is button number 1 event handler. So I click button number 1, starts up child activity. I explicitly say child activity. Okay, so here's implicit intent here. Bring in the URL. This is okay. Put mouse over it. Okay, URI dot parse string. So this should be a string. You're gonna have to do this. Yahoo.com won't work. You have to put in the HTTP. Okay, so this is construction of an implicit intent. You have this action view kind of string. You have a web page, which is a object here. So different intents, different, if you click on camera, it's going to be something else. Okay. Like a different argument, like a different action. Okay, if you click on, it's another common one. The context is pretty common too. Yeah, so it's action pick. Okay. Yeah, so this is how I'm going over a very easy, simplest example. This example is really simple because all you do is you start it. There's no return value from the web browser. Okay, so it's only a couple lines. The harder examples are the ones that involve return. So context is a good example. That's much more complicated. I'm starting in implicit intent is the same. All of these are, any of these bunch of people, any of these bunch of intents have a similarly short starting code. But what makes context more difficult is you have to get data back from it, and then you have to process that data. And this is where all the complexity comes in. Processing the return from the contact application. Okay, so go back here. So I think I have everything. So yeah, this is it. This is all you do to start a web browser. Okay. I'll also talk before I actually run this example, this start up a web browser example. I also want to go over this Android manifest file here. I mean, to show how does this actually work, right? So when I create intent, I'm saying action view, and then I give it a URL, give it basically a web address. So what does the operating system do? Like, how does the operating system know, to start up a web browser? In other words, how do I get other people to do the same thing to me? Like, if there's another software, how does that other software start up this main activity that I'm looking at? So the answer is actually in the Android manifest file. Every activity has so-called intent filter, and this so-called action, and category, and there's more to it. But that's basically how the operating system matches these requests, right? When you do this, you're making a request. I request, software that has action view, okay? And then when you do that software, find that action view software, you give it the web address. So, and by default, my software, I didn't do anything. By default, it's got this action, right? It's got the main action, whatever that is. So, that's how. This is like basically this is activity thing. This is basically the registration mechanism. So that's how basically all these other applications are registered with the operating system in a certain way. Okay, so I'll run it. I have to turn on the web first. So I just run the program. So when I click on this one, it should start up the web browser. Click. I'm on Wi-Fi. Oh man, Yahoo and Android. Okay, so that's it. That's all it takes to start a web browser. Now, there's a little bit more to it. Notice I just click on it, it just starts up the web browser. Okay. So suppose I have two web browsers, and it's starting my default web browser. That's what it's doing. I have two web browsers installed. Now I want to display that the menu that lets you choose the browser. So this is how you do it. Create chooser. So you know, don't jump in here right away, right? Intent dot. So now notice this. This create chooser function. Create chooser function is returning an intent. Okay. So actually, I should actually say intent dot create chooser. Oh, target is an intent, and this is a title, so easier part. Okay, target is the intent. Title is like a choose browser, something like that, and the return value is intent. Okay, so this function, static function for intent, takes in an intent and then sort of like customizes the object a little bit more, so that when the intent is actually launched, it will display a chooser. Okay. So I'll put my breakpoint here actually. Okay. F11, I'm using the debug. Okay, choosing my phone. Okay. Click here and debug. Debug goes here. Okay, F6, I think. Let me check shortcut key at F6 for stepping over, so nothing happens, right? So create chooser doesn't actually display chooser. It just sort of, you know, modify something in this intent object. Okay, so next one. And next, this is where it starts and doesn't do it. So F8. Now comes the chooser. I'll choose Chrome. Hi, what happened was I ran the program and it actually works, but Yahoo.com is showing my location, so I have to change this part. That's all. Change it to something else that gives me the privacy. Okay, now I run the program. So I click on the first button, it should go to, I'm on Wi-Fi here. If I click the first button, it should take me to the GameSpot website, not Yahoo. It's got my big location there. And that's it. No location here, right? Better check. Okay. So that's how you can start a web browser, and there's a little bit more to it. Like I just click on the button and it just starts up a web browser using my default web browser. Suppose I have two web browsers installed and I want to be able to choose my web browser. So this is how you set up a chooser. Right, so it's a chooser, right? So chooser here. Create chooser, it's a static function, belongs to intent. The first argument is the intent. The second argument is the title. So the first argument is going to be this. Second argument is going to be the choose. Let me drag this back out. Choose browser. Go chooser. Let's look at a return value. Returns a new intent object that you can hand to this. Okay, so don't. Okay, so to do this, okay, out with the old intent. The old intent went in, got modified or whatever. Take the new intent. Okay. So when this intent, so this function basically modifies the intent object, or actually I think it creates a new one, right? right? According to this, it's it's creating a new intent object. Okay, it's creating a new intent object such that it's gonna show up the the dialog that lets you pick web browsers. Okay, so let's run this. Okay, so click this, and this time there's this thing, choose browser. That's my title, and I can choose Chrome. That's my other browser. Okay. Oh, it's different, huh? Wow. Hey, that's why you need to choose browsers. It looks different from before. Okay, so let's choose browser, and this thing to see how many activities are available, right? Like, what if you have no browser installed at all? I mean, then calling this thing wouldn't be very effective. It might crash or something if there's no browser. So this code is the one that I copied from the intent website, web browser. I just copied this blob. So they're using package manager and then resolve activity. Okay. So this you can get the this is another way to do it. Package manager also. So package manager, this thing, get package manager. I guess what I'm doing is I'm kind of replacing this thing, right? Actually, I'm actually kind of like replacing this line here that they have. What this line basically does is it's checking to see if you have a browser installed at all. The start activity won't just go up and start up nothing. So get package manager, right? This function is returning a package manager. Okay, let's call that PM. Okay, so this get package manager. Okay, and then they're using resolve activity. The other way to do it is this function. Package manager has query intent activities. Right, this function, query intent activities. So intent, I'm querying this intent and flags. And it's actually, I'm using 0, but they actually don't say very much. So query intent activities. See, they don't really say that much. Additional option flags. Yeah, that's all they say. Yeah. Okay. So they don't say very much. So I'm using 0. Get intent filters. 0 now. What is this returning? It's returning this. Oops. It's returning a list of info. Okay. Now and then, if there's at least one info size greater than 0, then we run it. Okay, so that's the alternative to this line here. It gives me a better picture of what's going on. I'm getting the package manager. I'm using this thing to get information on what's there. Okay, so I'll put a breakpoint here and see if I can get anything out of info. So go into debug mode. Okay, so I'm starting the debugger. Click it. It's gonna go in here. It's from yesterday. Huh. Oh well. size 1. Solve info. Okay, so that's the other way to make sure that there's at least one. Right now it's only one, right? So there's at least one activity for this intent. So you should make sure that there's at least one activity for intent before you start the activity. Okay. Okay, and that concludes the section on this section on implicit intents. And there's a lot more, of course. There's it's like tons more. There's like tons more other things you can do. You can do a lot on this. It's a big topic. So to learn more, API guides, app components, common intents. Okay.